Texas in studio. I'm going to pop this over onto the FM. If you're watching, feel free to share this out. Please share this out. Post this in like Talk of League City, Talk of Alvin, Talk of everywhere. Your neighborhood group. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. My name is Gardy. Right now, it's just after 9 o'clock on a Tuesday. I have Dr. Aaron Chapa in studio. He came all the way from League City, Texas. Dr. Chapa, how's it going in League City today?
Dr. Chapa, I know him! Oh, wait. That was that's me.
Yeah.
I'm Dr. Chapa. Hi, guys. I'm so glad everybody's tuned in. I'm doing great. League City's treating me well. Man, I love the weather. I love 60 degrees. 40 degrees, little chilly.
Too cold.
It's too cold. The old Tootsies don't do well with that, and it's really hard to get out of the old warm bed in the morning. But, man, 60 degrees was like a little breezy this morning. Me and the dogs were just sitting out in the back, just letting it just blow through our hair, and it was just nice.
Yeah. Whenever it is colder, like those 40-degree days, I'm sure we'll have some more this year, maybe. Who knows how 2021 is going to go. But should you, like, warm up more or stretch? Is there any validity to that?
Oh, well,
just warm your body up.
I mean, always warming up is a good thing before you do anything strenuous, right?
Well, not necessarily strenuous, just the day, just to start the day.
Oh, yeah. So, like, I teach a concept in the office called pass the plates, row the canoe, and pick the grapes. Basically, it's take your age and you rotate left and right, and you we call that passing the plates, and you do a little baby squat, and that opens up the SI joints, the sacral base, and it starts to mobilize your lymphatics because your lymphatics don't have a pump that allows them to pump on their own like your cardiovascular system does. And so, when I wake up in the morning, I go left and right 42 times because
42?
Well, no, I'm 41, but I mean, I have to make it even.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Of course.
Yeah.
It's just kind of odd. And there's no sense being odd when I can be even. Da-ding-ding. Anyway, so anywho,
so pass the
plates. So pass the plates.
Everybody
do
this.
It on Facebook. That's right.
Yeah.
Come on. It's like sit and be fit. Y'all been there before. And then we do row the canoe. So it's like a baby squat and a little bit of a bend in the flexion of the spine, and you do that 40. Your age, both sides. So 1, 2. That's it. And then you do pick the grapes. So you're gonna reach back, put your grapes in your satchel, reach up to the sky, and squat just a little bit, and then do the other side. And we do that
like this,
exactly, more or less. And you're looking good. You're looking great. I'm so excited. And what this does is this begins to mobilize the lymphatics and the cerebral spinal fluid, and to mobilize blood flow that you wouldn't have normally have access to that early in the morning. And those are simple, easy things that are not intense warm-ups. They're just mobilization drills. And Nikolai Amosov is a Russian cardiologist who still, at 95 years old, was doing 2 cardiovascular surgeries a day. So I can't imagine, having the confidence in, a 95-year-old cardiologist. But, I mean, his hands must have been really, pretty stable.
Got to be steady, right?
Right. And so, but he said he owed his joint, or he said he owed his dexterity and his ability to maintain good health all the way up to 95 to joint mobility exercise drills every day. So things like pass the plates, row the canoe, pick the grapes. Those are just 3 little exercises that are easy to teach because I can show you an entire protocol I learned from Scott Sonnen, a kettlebell expert guy who was out. He teaches military, police force. He's martial arts, jiu-jitsu, judos, all the different things. He's worked with the best of the best across the world, and he's got an entire joint mobility program. Everything for the toes, the bones in the feet, the bones in the ankles, the knees, the hips, the SI joints, each vertebra in your back, your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists and fingers, your neck, in all kinds of different planes and motions. And I can show you that, but the reality is most people won't take the 10 minutes it takes to do that.
You got to actually do the work.
You actually got to do the work.
Yeah.
So I try to give people something simple. Like if you can do the simple consistently, like one of the words of the year that somebody gave me this past, a week, because I'm asking everybody, what's your word? What's your word? Like, what do you want the year of 2021 to bring? For me, It's listening. I want to listen better. I want to listen to my patients better. I want to listen to my wife better. I want to listen to my family better. I want to listen to those that I allow to speak to me better. Most importantly, I want to listen to the Holy Spirit's guidance and direction in my life better. I want the Lord to lead me, and I can only be led if I'm a good listener and implementer of what He tells me to do. And so but somebody said consistency. Well, consistency, doing the wrong thing can give you some really not so good results. Isn't that right, Gardy?
That's right.
But if you do consistently things well, 70, 80% of the time, you've got some insurance that you can, mess up here and there and have some grace on yourself and not completely derail. And so that's an important thing that I want people to grab hold of, is that we don't ever demand perfection out of people at Living Well. We teach, coach, guide, and encourage, influence people through a positive working relationship. You're working on arm in arm with every clinical staff that works at Living Well. We get in the boat with you, and we're going to push you, we're going to challenge you, we're going to encourage you, but we're never, ever, ever going to condemn you, because why? What good is that?
Well, you want them to come back and get better.
It's right. And sometimes, if people saw my lifestyle and the way I do things, they might not be interested. But I'm not going to start people where I'm at. I've been at this since I've been 15 years old, making dietary changes and lifestyle modifications. I'm 41. So, it's just not like, it dawned on me the other day even that if you've been sick with symptom patterns that you have developed over time, things you were not genetically born with, because most people aren't genetically born with diabetes. They're not born with heart disease. These are things that develop over time due to a bioaccumulated waste process where your body can't get rid of the stuff, so it stores it. Okay, so the body stores toxins in the brain, fat cells, and joints, and that's why your brain hurts, your body hurts, and your body can't seem to break those pounds. Well, that accumulation of waste builds up in your body to a point where you don't feel your best, and your body needs help getting rid of that. That's why we start pushing people to detox, and helping them understand. So those symptoms are just check engine lights that something isn't going as smoothly as you would like your body to move it forward, positively. And it just takes you starting to make 1 degree of change, 1 degree of change, 1 degree of change. And so we don't want people to feel like they have to, do my lifestyle. It'll work, for them. But if I can find one thing that you'll change today, you might be willing to change 2 things tomorrow and 3 things the next day. And so, for every 5 years that a person is suffering with illnesses, ailments, symptoms, disorders, diagnoses, on medications, whatever, 5 years, it takes 1 year to truly repair and recover from that. 1. And so it doesn't mean it takes a year for you to feel better. I can get you feeling better inside 90 days, maybe even faster, if you do the program. It never ceases to amaze me. I get people better and see them get better inside of 90 days, 6 months, and all of a sudden they stop doing the things that got them well.
Because I'm better.
Mm-hmm. And we just have this idea that we can put it on a cruise control and things work out well. Well, John Maxwell, the great, theologian and motivational speaker, says that if you're in neutral or if you're in cruise control mode, you're going backwards. Because typically everything about life is about improving, and improving is always an uphill battle. You know what I mean? Like rarely, or to go from one mountaintop to the next mountaintop, you're climbing, and when you're in the valley, you're trying to get out of the valley, so you're climbing. You know what I mean? There's always an uphill climb that has to be made. There's effort that's got to be put in, and so the effort that you are putting in is you've got to find people that want to help you get there. So I have had people that just even the other day. I always battle and wrestle when people are struggling with their protocols and programs, because people do work hard to get well, and they work hard to get better. And I had a person with some challenges, and they weren't getting better, and they were real discouraged, and I got really discouraged a little bit. I'm like, man, this person's working so hard. They're doing everything they need to be doing. And, I was praying about it. And the next morning, God gave me, some insight. Now, I don't know that I liked the insight, but God's truth is God's truth, and sometimes truth hurts, right? And or it's a bitter pill to swallow. And God's economy is different than our economy. Can we agree? And so God goes, well, Aaron, how long have you been working at this health thing? I said, well, since I've been 15. He goes, how old are you now? And I'm like, 41. He goes, how many years is that? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's a lot. And he goes, so when a patient has been at it for 3 years and you've been at it for 26 years, there's things that their body has accumulated that we haven't got to yet. The layers haven't been released yet. And I'm like, really? And he goes, mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? Like it is. I have to remember as a clinician, and this is probably one of the hardest things that all of us as clinicians deal with at Living Well, is that we want you better as much as you want you better. Mm-hmm. But sometimes the damage is done. Sometimes the time it needs to be invested to unravel that mess of nest that you've been laying in and working through. Whoa, hey, good to see you guys. And we had some surprise visitors peeking in the fishbowl.
Yeah.
And Gardy and I were swimming around in here swimmingly.
Doing our canoe.
Doing our rowing.
Canoe.
That's right. Yeah. And so we always have to stop and give a shout out when we see fans come by the window. God bless them.
Yeah.
And so, we want people to really appreciate the journey. Health is a journey. The wellness journey is ongoing. Like, is there a finish line? No. Like, the finish line is when you give up the ghost and you give this earth suit back to the earth, mm-hmm. and you get your glorified body in the heavens with God. And that's, not always pleasant to hear, because we want what? Hey, man, I want to eat my pizza. I want my cake. I want my soda. I want my beverage of choice. I want whatever, and I want to do it my way, Chop. I know. I do too. The problem is oftentimes your way gets you in trouble. It gets you on that slippery slope down to the valley, and that valley is not always pleasant. You know what I mean? And so detoxification is the month we're in. This is our annual big event that we do, the Ultimate Detox Experience. We're going to be at Butler's Courtyard tonight, live streaming and live. And I really want to encourage you, if you can get there, because we're going to have Main Squeeze out there. We're going to have Organic Alkaline Water Company out there, S&D Waterworks that are out of Nassau Bay. I think it said Jeff with Main Squeeze is going to be there. I think he might even bring his Main Squeeze truck, where they'll be making bowls and smoothies.
They got a mobile truck now?
They have a mobile truck. It's unbelievable.
We need to bring Main Squeeze in with you one day.
Yes. Oh, man, Jeff and I would love it. We love, talking shop. I mean, I have people that want to do, water fast and juice feast, and they build such a good juice fasting program. It incorporates really well with what we do. And we're going to have our tea lady there. She'll be giving out organic teas and telling people about the cool power of tea. We'll have essential oils, brewing and teach you how to, use this oil for that and that oil for this. And we'll have our heart sound recorder running, where you can get your valves checked, your mitral valve, your tricuspid valve, your pulmonic and aortic valve, to see how the heart is functioning. How efficient is it? Because your heart gets 100,000 beats a day. You want those beats working well. You've got enough vascularity in your body that will go around the world, guys. I mean, that is insane amount of vascular roadway and inside of you that can wrap around this world, and I think that is pretty remarkable. And so we want to encourage you to do that. We'll have stats being done, and of course we'll have raffles for 4 Zerona 20-minute sessions. We're really excited about that. And so the guys, I mean, the live event, there's nothing like it. I'm thankful for Zoom. I want people on, however you can be there and be a part. But I'm telling you, there's nothing like coming and interacting with your city, coming and interacting with people that are doing good in the city. And then, of course, the different, modalities that we'll have kicking, so that you have a fun time and experience doing your Ultimate Detox program. Everything is designed to give you new tools, new insights, so that we can make you stronger, better, and healthier. Not only one bite at a time, one detox at a time, because we want you to do this 42 days a year. So 2 of these of 21-day programs per year, or 4 10-day programs per year, in order to maximize your body's exit strategies.
So that's tonight at Butler's Courtyard. What time is it?
6:30.
So 6:30, Butler's Courtyard in League City. If you want to come learn more about the detox and cleanse, maybe you're on it right now. It's good to have that support. There's going to be a lot of cool vendors there. And if you're watching on Facebook, you can see Living Well shared those some of those vendors, and there's more that are going to be there other than the ones that they mentioned. 6:30 tonight at Butler's Courtyard. You're invited.
And it is a good time, guys. I mean, it's just good to have camaraderie and have people working through the process because you know, I had yesterday, some people say, oh, I just can't do the detox. It's just too intense for me. And I'm like, oh, what's too intense? Oh, I just can't do that diet. Okay, well, what would you modify on the diet to make it more, up your alley? And, of course, their first jokingly thought was, oh, pizza. And I'm like, well, unfortunately, that is not on there, and that's unacceptable. But what would, if there was something acceptable that you would do it, what would it be? Oh, if I can just have eggs every day. Great. We can modify it. You got kids going through it. I want to give a shout out to my little girl. Two of my girls, I'm really proud of them because Lexi she started a week early. She's 9, and she has done really well sticking to the program. I mean, she's learned some foods to eat. She's fallen in love with quinoa. Mm-hmm. She's fallen in love with a couple new vegetables, and she's working on it, right? Ellie came out the other day. I didn't know she was going to do it. She's almost 5 in February, and she goes, I'm going to do a 5-day detox because I'm 5.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, awesome. Well, it was funny because on day 2, we're at church, and they have kolaches at the church, and she comes up to me and goes, Daddy, can I have a cheat meal? I said, no, you can't have a cheat meal. You said you wanted 5 days of detox. Baby, we're going to get it. I'm going to help you do it. And she goes, but I'm hungry. And I'm like, all right. So, I had thankfully had some stuff packed for my detox, so I was able to feed her some of my food. But we modify it for the kids. The kids get to have protein. They can have eggs, and they can have chicken, and they can have turkey, because we want to keep their amino acids high because they're going through, a growing pattern neurologically and physically. And so we don't want to take those away from them. And so we want to really encourage people, we will modify it. You just got to let, myself, Jennifer, Molly, Dr. Amber know, where your sticking point is, because we can build it. If you don't like pills, don't worry, we got a powder. If you don't like powders, we got pills. If you don't like any of those things, we have homeopathics. So we'll find something to help your body nudge itself into a detox pattern. And that's just the fun of what we've learned to do as being puzzle solvers, is finding the puzzle piece that fits your style. And you can't obviously give up every, put us in a corner and take all of our tools away. I mean, at some point, there's nothing we can do, because there's this concept of, are you willing to do what is necessary to get you where you want to be? And if you're unable to do it for whatever reason, typically it's a teaching point. We just need to teach you how to get your willing and able graph to go into I can. I will, I must, and I will do it today, And that's where the coaching comes along. So we have patients come in, and just to work through this detox process every week because they need that accountability. They want that accountability. They come in, they do foot baths, and we start draining trash out of their lymphatics and open up those other exit strategies so their body performs better throughout the detox, and they maximize that experience. We got more people jumping on the Zerona right now because the body is detoxing. We're also leveraging that laser to target, stubborn belly fat or, body fat that you don't like in areas, and you can stimulate those fat globules to release toxins, and you release triglycerides and release cholesterols and release things that doesn't belong in those cells, and it will train those fat cells to be more hormonally congruent with your endocrine axis. And when that endocrine axis, your hormonal axis, is intact, when the hypothalamus is communicating to the ovaries, when the thyroid and the adrenal glands are working together to manage your stress and to manage your heart rate and manage your metabolism, manage your sleep patterns, whenever the glandular axis is intact with your nervous system, the detox pathways are more ensured to work efficiently. And I think that's what makes me so excited about what I get to do every day, and what we at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center do every week is we take patients and we educate them train them what their body's doing every day. When is it the liver the best? When's the kidneys at their best? When's your digestion system at the best? When's your cardiovascular system at its best? And if you are doing some of our testing, our stats, and letting us take you through the reflex work and help your body understand what we call systems-based nutrition, you will get fired up too, because you get control again. I was just talking to a guy this morning, and him and I train together from time to time in the gym, and he just told me he got his butt whooped this morning, and I'm like, yeah, it's like the 1 hour that we go in there and we just beat on the weight, and the weight beats on us, and we're exhausted and tired and mentally strained and drained. All of a sudden, the rest of the day doesn't seem like too daunting, because we just kicked our own tail for an hour and worked ourselves over, and we're like, you know what? The reward is going through the rest of the day knowing, that you invested in yourself, that you invested something of change, and the body needs that stimuli. It's called hormesis. Hormesis is a term that describes a healthy level of stress that you put on your body that creates a healthy level of change. So you can't just sit around and, do nothing and expect anything good to ever happen. They've actually shown in science that if you just sit on a beach with a cocktail in the sunshine and luxurious food, doing nothing, inside of a year, you'll wither away and die off.
Really?
You need a level of stress in your life. And people go, huh? But that's hormetic stress. I'm not talking about degenerative stress. The degenerative stress is when you don't manage all the things that are coming at you at the same time. You're not supporting yourself biochemically. You're not getting the good and healthy rest. You're not ensuring that your detox channels are opened up. People go, I don't even know I have a detox channel. What does that mean? I know. That's what we're teaching at Living Well. We've been teaching this stuff for 17 years. We want you to get this information in your hands, because when you get it, guys, you'll start realizing there is a level of control you have on your aging process, on your health, that you wouldn't have otherwise had. And I'm not saying it's a guaranteed fountain of youth, but here's the deal. It's really hard for age number, it's just a number, to catch you, quote unquote, whenever you're working hard, staying focused on your vision of what you want yourself to look like after you've built your health. I want to be fully functional in spirit, mind, and body. Spirit, mind, and body. I want to be fully functional in spirit, mind, and body till I'm 125 years old. I've got a vision of 125. Now, what if I make it to $110? Who cares? I just saw some video of a 101-year-old running a marathon or something, scrolling through something yesterday, right? And I'm like, God bless that. That's awesome. He became a centenarian, So if I don't make it to 125 and I make it to 101, I'm a centenarian. Very few people get there. But how many people have gotten there and they're decrepit, they're broken, they're drugged up, they don't feel good, they're dementia, whatever, right? How many people get there and they have their wit about them? They're still clever. They're still alive and vibrant. They're still given to the world, right? They're still a part of the game. That's what I want, fully functional in spirit, mind, and body. And so we want you to come along with us. And we want you to maximize your gene code. We want to give you the tools to help de-burden the body. And this detox experience is that tool. It's a huge tool. It's 3 months worth of work in 3 weeks. And it will change you. So if you've never detoxed with Living Well before, you're missing out, because this is the ultimate detox experience. We've always called it the ultimate detox experience because I haven't found anything better. And I have evolved it. I've tinkered with it. I've changed it the way it was originally taught, because when you go into the trenches and you start working with thousands of people and you start seeing this chemistry does this, this chemistry does this, this chemistry does this, and you start figuring out where the little glitches are and the mishaps are dealing with chemistry in the field, we leave the theory of what the booklet said to do, and we start thinking and logic and reason and help people work through those processes, because the last thing we want is for you to do this once and never do it again. Because it's not about one time. It's about you got to keep that deburdening process happening so that your body never accumulates waste. you got a waste buildup in your brain, and you can't remember names, numbers, and words, or you got headaches, or you got challenges floating around in your body, and your body's internalizing all that energy that it would otherwise have output productivity and creativity to give back to the world for you, for Jesus, for your family. You know what I mean? Like, I could literally just talk about this for hours. Can you tell?
I can tell.
I get really fired up, just a little bit. You need to calm me down? Where's the fire extinguisher?
Yeah, I'm about to spray it. Yeah, just like hose you down with the fire extinguisher. So if you're tuning in, you're listening on your radio, you're listening on the KHEA Radio app, Facebook, however you're listening, you can text Detox21 to 474747 to find out more information about this ultimate 21-day detox, that there are a bunch of people in our area and around the world going through this journey right now. There's a private Facebook group for encouragement.
Yes.
All the details will be laid out. So again, text Detox21 to 474747 to find out more information right now. And we're talking to Dr. Aaron Chapa, based out of Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center in League City. It is 9:30 on the dot. So we're at the halfway point, and I feel like there's so much more to talk about. I see that some people are talking about questions and suggestions. One comment that I saw from Carla that I asked her, I was like, "A what?" Did you see that comment on Facebook yet?
Oh, is it about the
infinity float?
Yeah. So basically,
what is that?
It's basically, like she said, it's 1,200 pounds of salt in water, and so basically it's a mini float tank, and you lay back in this float tank. This little dome comes down over, and don't worry, it's not claustrophobic. I mean, it's a little freaky at first, but once you kind of realize that, I mean, it's all fine. You're laying in this bed of salt water, and it's like the Dead Sea. You float in it, and you can't sink. And then when you create the space and you turn out the light, because you have control over all that. I don't know. I've never been to that one, but I mean, I'd assume the ones I've been to, and you completely desensitize your sensory inputs. I mean, you can't see, inches in front of your face. It is dark, dark, dark. And of course you can flip the light on, for those that do get kind of tripped out. And I get it, but if you can desensitize and just lay back and let your body go zero gravity, I mean, dude, you lay back, and within a couple minutes, because there's nothing, you're like in an abyss of blackness, you just kind of like melt away and you go to sleep. Some people do. And it is a very, restful experience. And even if you just lay there and just chill, once your mind settles, and I think that you really, to be honest with you, have to kind of do stuff like that more than once to really get the effect, because it's a form of meditation going into a very dark, very...
it's pitch black? You can't see anything?
Well, you can create that.
Okay.
So like you can go in there and you can have little black lights, or you can go in there and make it completely dark. And I think you can have music or not have music. But when you can teach yourself to silence all of that and just lay back and just let your body rest, because we got so many inputs at every inch of our day. The minute you wake up, the alarm's going off, then the first thing you do is probably check your different social media platforms, and that's really the worst thing you could do. The first thing you should do is get up and drink 16 ounces of water. Second thing you should do is do your joint mobility exercises. Third thing you should do is the first thing we should have done is thank God we're awake. You know what I mean? And appreciative of the day. And run through a gratitude list, and then drink your water, and then do your joint mobility exercises, and hopefully, your bowels are moving optimally well, and you're having a bowel movement within 5-10 minutes of being awake. Oh, Dr. Chapa, that's how it's supposed to be? Yeah. If you're not having a bowel movement within the first 5-10 minutes, you're toxic. So you're holding on to stuff. If you haven't had a bowel movement by 10 a.m., you better be doing something about it. I don't have a bowel movement every other day, they say. And that's, my doctor told me that was normal for me. Oh, hogwash. That's not true at all. If you've got 10 to 15 meals caked up inside of you at 100 degrees, guess what? It's rotting. Rotting, I-N-G. Rotting is not good. That'd be bad for your health. We got to make sure that your body isn't holding on to old stuff too long. So the bowel transit time has to be anywhere from 15 to 18 hours, at optimal level. If it's too long, things are rotting. If it's too fast, you're not absorbing what you need. So, I mean, it's a game to play. And we find 2 to 3 bowel movements a day is healthy. If you're not having those, talk to us. Let us help you. Let us try to help retrain your body to do what it's supposed to, or help you stop putting in foods that could be slowing down the transit time. Because people don't realize that when you eat a lot of grain processed foods, they are slowing down your bowels up to 38%. So, most people overindulge in bread, rice, cereal, pasta, corn products, which all slow down bowel motility. Most people overindulge in and when they do that overindulgence, that creates this just big old bolus of work your body has to do, and they don't have the stomach acids to break it down, the pancreatic enzymes to break it down. So one of the cool things you learn about detox is portion control, like measuring out what your body can handle. We're not really measuring, but I mean, most people, when you take a lot of the processed junk away, the excessive amount of carbs away, the refined sugars, the additives, the alcohols, they start realizing, wow, I eat no vegetables. Well, if you're not eating vegetables, you're not getting that good insoluble fiber to bathe and wash and clean up the bowel. You're not getting the minerals from those green leafies. You're not getting the exotic minerals at all, because a lot of the because you haven't eaten kohlrabi, you haven't eaten kale before. Or you haven't eaten an abundance of it. And so we're constantly helping people navigate towards better quality nutrition density. And when we start putting in as extra good quality nutrients, the body starts doing some really neat things. I mean, it starts to open up old closets that were full of waste and trash and starts excreting them out. And the whole goal of the detox, when we put the supplements with the diet, is to create this enzymatic activity system that converts fat-soluble compounds into water-soluble compounds that you poop out, sweat out, breathe out, and excrete out of your system. And if we can get it out of you, the stuff that you've been holding on to for 10 years, because you could be a smoker, not smoked for 20 years and not smoked a cigarette in the last 10, and I bet you in 2 or 3 detoxes we could start pumping nicotine out of you. And if you're a processed food junkie and you don't realize it, but like mercury is one of its number one sources right now is in the consumption of this buzzword, high fructose corn syrup. When you see high fructose corn syrup on your condiments or on your secret sauces or on different processed packages that you're looking at, you should read those labels. Don't just look at the nutrition facts. Look at the ingredients underneath it. It'll show you. And if you see high fructose corn syrup, throw it in the trash. It isn't even worth finishing. Because the old saying is, you can find a crust of bread in the garbage can, but I wouldn't do it. You're not going to find, there might be one good nutrient in that whole thing, but they ruined it with, this preservative, high fructose corn syrup, because they've sensationalized your taste buds to think that you need it to be excessively sweet. And that's not true. And the same goes with the salts and then the preservatives, MSG. When you see those deadly food additives present, you start realizing, oh, those are the buzzwords I need to be looking for on the label, because those indicate that I'm eating fake food. And if I'm eating fake food, Dr. Chapa in the clinical nutrition, they say that I am building make-believe health. I don't want to build make-believe health. Well, we've got to teach you to eat real food, not make-believe food, right? Mm-hmm. But it tastes so good. I know, nothing below your taste buds want it. I mean, these are the voices that I've heard in my head. I'm assuming that many people can probably agree that they've heard those same voices. It's like somehow they get in but it's just like the devil. The devil don't have no new tricks. He says the same old lies, the same old confusing thoughts over and over again. But we stand on truth. We stand on nutritional principles. We stand on what we call nutritional laws that you can't, get around. So I take this penny and I drop it. It's going to fall at 9.8 meters per second squared. If you eat make-believe food, you're going to get
make-believe health
all day, every day. But if you eat real, nutrient-dense foods, If you put in healthy amounts of vitamins and minerals to drive a process in your body, which is what we do, systems-based nutrition, and we encourage these little moments of detox every quarter, every 6 months, all throughout the year, helping people navigate some of their own bad habits that they've accumulated over 10, 20, 30, 40 years of living. Hey, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Recognize you need it too. You need a wake-up call too. You need accountability too. And I know it gets discouraging. I get it. I just want to encourage you, however, that we just keep pressing on to the mark. We run the race. We fight the fight. We get around people that are going to encourage and inspire us and lift us and nudge us onward, upward, goodward, and Godward.
How does somebody find those? If they don't have those people in their life.
Well, let me just tell you, I'm glad you just pitched me one right down the middle, my brother. So here at 6:30 tonight, you can come meet 20, 30 of them. You can go get involved in our Ultimate Detox group, and you can find that we have a support group that will give you recipe ideas and answer questions. And it is really fun to see how many people that have done this detox with us and help other people. Everybody wants everybody to succeed here. And we at the office, we have you coming in weekly. We have you coming in every couple weeks to make sure that you're getting what you need, questions answered, and hand-holding to make sure that you navigate the pitfalls of detoxification that we've seen people slip into. And we never are going to, again, condemn you for making a mistake. You botch it one time, you have one little thing that you're not quite ready to give up, that's okay. It's not the end of the world, because you got to think about it. If we get 21 days of no sugar in your diet, and that's the first time you got no sugar, my 4.5-year-old goes, I'm doing a 5-day detox, Daddy. And of course, day 2, can I have a cheat meal? I just wanted to hug her, because she ain't no different than a 45-year-old that I work with, a 65-year-old person I work with. She's no different than myself wanting a cheat meal. And I'm like, no, honey, we can do this. Let me feed you this and this and this, and let's see how it feels. But I don't like all those little purple things in there. She didn't like the onions in whatever Mom had made. I said, what if I make you that exact thing without the onions? And because we had it there. I mean, it was already made. And she goes, yeah, I'll do that. Okay, great. So we negotiated and found an alternative. And so we started getting the kids to wrap their head around something else. We re-educate them not to accept, well, I have to make 7 different meals for 7 different people in my family. That's not realistic, Mom. That's not realistic at all. And we don't want that. The kids will comply. They will come along. They might go hungry a little bit at first. Give them a shake. You know what I mean? You gotta train them. You gotta work with them. You can't just set it in front of them and expect them to eat it. You gotta ask them questions. What is it that you don't like about the bell pepper? Is it too crunchy? Is it too sweet? Is it too bitter? What is it? What if we dip it in some hummus? What if we dip it in some tahini? What if we dip it in some salsa? Okay, we can try that maybe. Oh, what if we dip it in some garlic butter? Yummy to the tummy. And now all of a sudden, that artichoke that was a little scary at first, all of a sudden becomes fun, and we're all racing to the heart, and we can't. And who's going to get the first bite of the heart?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's gone, and they're like, we want more, and I'm like, oh, really? Why? Oh, it's just so good and so juicy, and it's so. They start giving you adjectives that are, and they start having fun with food, and then you start realizing, oh, it's just I wasn't willing to be patient enough to work them through what it was they didn't like. Because most people are just like, ooh, that's gross, and we accept it. Instead go, what is gross? Like, what about it? Because most vegetables take the shape of whatever you put with it. So if you put some onion powder on there, it's going to taste a little bit oniony. If you put some garlic powder on there, it's going to taste a little bit garlicky. If you put some Mediterranean spice on there, it's going to taste a little bit Mediterranean, a little bit Italian, a little bit of whatever. You can kind of do whatever you want with it that you particularly like. So be willing to try it many different ways. Try it raw. Try it lightly cooked, more cooked, mediocre cooked. Steam it, grill it, bake it. I feel like I'm playing that pop it game. Pop it.
Twist it.
Yeah. And you just have fun with the food. And I find that if you get the kids involved, did anybody try that little recipe that I threw out last week?
Well,
I think it was like
the one you came up with off the top of your head.
Yeah, I can't even remember what it was, but I went home and I tried it, and it was amazing. and I had but I think what I did, I think it was with the kale, because remember last week in the morning I rushed and I put the oven on too high. I had the oven at 420, and it overbaked my kale, and I was like, dang it! So I just chunked it and chalked it up to a mishap. I came to the radio show. I had an opportunity to run back to the house. I was like, you know what? I'm going to give that little recipe a go. I took the kale. I put it on some parchment paper. I sprayed it with some avocado oil. I slid it in at 350 this time, and I set an alarm for 3 minutes, turned them, and another 3 minutes, turned them, and I had put these 4 spices with it. And I have a picture of it up on our support group. And by the way, those that probably know what I'm talking about, I did find a lemon pepper with no cane sugar. I won't make that mistake. And what do you think I did with the old one?
Threw it away.
Threw that away.
Trash can.
Man, even though it said organic, I was that deceptive little lie. Organic isn't always organic whenever it comes to sugar, because even organic sugar can mess you up and inflame you. So anyway, off that little soapbox a moment, I went ahead and added, I think it was like coriander, some cayenne, and some lemon pepper, and I think one other thing, I can't remember. So I sprinkle it over the top, and so I have this bacon in the oven, and I pull it out, and I'm thinking, oh. So I crunched beautiful in my mouth. I'm like eating a couple of them. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. So then I was like, avocado. I took half an avocado, threw it on the parchment paper. I took a little lemon juice. I took a little bit more cayenne, and I just literally just packed it all together. And because it was all that kale was just crunching down into the avocado, and I made this like little avocado kale mash. And dude, I was in heaven. I mean, I was like, treat, I was like, I got this. And but I mean, that's the fun of having an idea and then going home and tinkering with it. And bringing it to perfection. And when you're in the support group when you sign up for the detox program, you get access to the support group. And there's recipe books in there, and there's ideas in there, and encouragement in there every which way to Sunday. And so we definitely just want to again re-inspire you or encourage you to come out to Butler's Courtyard, 6:30 p.m. We're going to be live there doing a class. We're going to have all kinds of vendors, everything from our Zerona to Stats and Heart Sound and teas and smoothies and I think our water lady's coming back. So anyway, we have all kinds of things going on, and we're just excited for those that are doing the detox that have never done it before, and those that are curious about the detox that are kind of like, I'm not sure. And then those that are veterans that have gone through this multiple times. So just be a part of the community, guys, because that is where you truly get the results you're after.
I saw that there was a new PDF cookbook that was uploaded to the support group for the 2021 detox. What new items have been added in there that you can tease us about?
Goodness. Well, there is, I cannot remember the name that Molly and Jennifer call it. But I just like saying it, so maybe if she's watching, she'll know which one I'm talking about. But it's like, oh man, I just drew a blank on its name. But I don't know. Like as I've just gone through it, I don't really look at the names. I just kind of start making stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like Charmaine or something like that. If y'all are listening, you can throw it up there. But I just like saying it. And but there's new recipes in there, and we are absolutely just excited to see what ideas you guys can come up with going through that. And that's why we have these cookbooks, is just give people tools to get through it and navigate through not knowing how to interact with the kitchen, because people have been disassociated with the kitchen. They don't know how to use this utensil or that utensil to come up with this idea. And and not everybody really enjoys it. I mean, I thankfully enjoy the kitchen. Like that's like my space.
Yeah.
And so I'm into it, right? So I've kind of learned to tinker with this and tinker with this. I have a mentor friend of mine, and like he's to the next level. All of his stuff tastes good and is pretty. My stuff tastes good, but it's not always pretty, right? And but his stuff is like, restaurant style pretty, and he makes it right out of his house. And I mean, you're just kind of like, I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
I mean, but anyway,
for me, it's the cleanup that always gets me, because I have a lot of fun cooking, and I'm able to experiment, and it tastes good for me. But it's the cleanup. one time I bought a juicer and I was trying to juice and I was like, man, it's so much work. And then the cleanup is what's a lot more. So it's a lot of cooking during the detox. And you kind of have to time that in, like, well, then I'm going to have to spend all this time cleaning up because I destroyed the kitchen. I'm sure somebody out there is like uses exactly what they need, but not me. Every pot, pan,
and it seems to be such. You definitely got to do it. It's a learning curve, and again, I have to wonder. Some of these things just we haven't been taught. So, and that's what I do with my kids. Is people go, your kids can cook that, and your kids can cook that. How'd you get that? I said, because we burned a lot of stuff. They've ruined a pot or a pan here or there. And I'd rather them, mess some stuff up or clean up and have to clean up a mess, and they kind of see the process come to fruition. I mean, one thing's for sure, my kids will know how to load and unload a dishwasher, wash a dish or two,
yeah.
and to make sure that they can cook for themselves. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things my mom gave me. She just wanted to make sure that her boys could cook their own food. And if they were ever in a predicament, they wouldn't be, left to the vices of fast fooding, because there's nothing in a fast food chain that your taste buds, other than your taste buds, want. Nothing in your body wants it. I mean, as a matter of fact, a lot of that stuff will poison you. It's loaded with the 4 deadly food additives: MSG, monosodium glutamate, which is a known neurotoxin, and it's very disruptive to the neurochemistry downstream in your peripheral system. High fructose corn syrup, we talked about a little while ago. Not only does it cause havoc on your blood sugar pathways, it's also one of the number one current sources for mercury toxicity, which is another known neural degeneration pathway. Then you've got your partially hydrogenated oil, which clogs up your liver, sometimes as much as 3 to 4 months, and that really slows down, bogs down, congests the liver's ability to do its daily work, and therefore creates this bioaccumulated waste buildup process where you need a detox. You've got to start learning about the type of oils that you're cooking with. When you're buying your vegetable oils, your canola oils, those are junk oils. Those are cheap, rancid oils that will cause more harm inflammatory-wise in your body than benefit. And so you want to start learning, how to use your olive oil on a salad, and how to use avocado oil, and how to leverage coconut oil if you can do it. I mean, there's all kinds of, ways to navigate some of these stories. And when you start looking at ingredients and you see those 3 ingredients or artificial sugars of any kind, aspartame, asuflame, sucralose, saccharin. When you start seeing stuff like that, you go, man, if they're willing to put these types of junk ingredients in this product, what other junk ingredients are they using to make this product that they're not telling me about? Maybe it isn't listed on the label. There's benefit to it being on the label. There's also benefit to it not being on the label, because if the more regulated it is, the more it's controlled. And I don't know that we really want to give up too much more control when it comes to regulation of things. But at the end of the day, man, if there's a poison in it, you really got to start being more astute, like a private eye a little bit, and recognize, what, that's good marketing telling me that's good for me, and that's my taste buds crying out, whining, and you have to kind of like, be the adult to yourself and say, well, I don't really want to adult today, but I know I must. If we must, we must. And we choose to live better and be better one bite at a time, and recognize if it's got a food label, it probably should be eaten in limited quantity anyway. You want to eat foods that don't necessarily require a food label. Vegetables are good; they grow out of the ground. Fruits grow off of trees. If you're using things that don't have the label, and you're getting a 2-to-1 vegetable to fruit relationship throughout your day of intake, you're drinking 100 ounces of water a day, or 1 liter per 50 pounds of body weight. We obviously don't want little Johnny that's 30 pounds drinking 100 ounces. That's a little overkill. But a liter per 50 pounds of body weight. And what happens there is you're getting adequate water even if you exercise. And so we're making sure that you're drinking water. I mean, hey, I get it. You want your coffee, but make sure you're drinking water. I was excited. I hit my 200 and 15 ounces of water yesterday, and felt really good. I normally hit somewhere between 170 and 200 ounces on a regular day. Detox or heavy workout days, I do a little more, and it's just important. A male is 60 to 63% water, a female is 57 to 60% water inside the cell. So the more electrically active it is, the more healthy those cells are, the better those cells receive messages and give messages. And we want healthy cellular communication. We do these cellular inflammatory tests in our office called an omega quant, and we have these little finger pricks, and we send this off, and we get these test results back, and we can see cellular fire. When you have cellular inflammation or cellular fire running rampant, then we can also see how many firefighters do you have going out and fighting those fires. And man, yesterday I had these both couple, their omega-6 to omega-3 ratio was in the tank. Their fires were raging, and they had no firefighters fighting. Even though they're 33 and 38 years old, they're setting themselves up for a pretty rough 40 and a pretty rough 50. But what if we start changing the sail? We start catching a new drift, and we start going a different direction. We get off the shallows where all the diseases is, and we get out into the deep waters where the adventure is, Gardy. All of a sudden, life takes you on a new ride. So, when it comes to detoxification, there's no one better, in my opinion, than people that have gone through this process as time and time again, like we have at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. Every one of us that are teaching in our office clinically have done the detox many times, and we're working people through those processes, helping them to navigate those challenges and helping them maximize the changes that they want, that they believe they can get. And January is a great time to do it motivationally. And I'm going to tell you, when you start taking the bull by the horns and you start controlling things in your life that you can control, all of a sudden when the world around you seems a little bit out of control, a little bit distorted and uncertain, things don't have the same effect on you as if you were just getting beat by the waves of life. And that's why in the book of James in the Bible, he says, "Be of good cheer, my brethren, for the testing of your faith develops perseverance, and perseverance must finish its works, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. And if any of you lacks wisdom, ask, and God will give generously to all without finding fault. But when you ask, Gardy, make sure that you ask in faith and know. Don't be a wave blown and tossed by the wind, because that man can expect to receive nothing from the Lord. So make sure that when you ask in faith, and you ask people and find a group of people that know where they're going, so that when you get there, you'll be where you wanted to go. And that's why you have to start painting this picture, future-pacing language for yourself. What do you want your life to look like 5 years from now? What do you want your life looking like 20 years from now? If you're 38 and you don't like how you feel like 78, remember, you still have 25 good working years, powerful years ahead of you. So make sure you don't put unrealistic expectations to hit this unrealistic mark in 30 days, knowing that you've got 20, 25, 30 more good years ahead of you of productivity. And really, it's more than that, you know what I mean? But I'm being conservative because some people sell themselves short. They think, oh, well, my body's going to give out at 60. All right, well, you're 38. Do the math. You got 22 years where you can be highly productive. What are you going to do with those 22 years? Are you going to sit around, roll around in the muck and the mire? Or are you going to let truth set your foot on the rock? God has given us spiritual principles to live by. God's given us earthly principles to live by. And we want to teach you those good, healthy principles at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. That's what we do.
Here's a really good question. This is from Trudy. She asks, is there a clinic or a center doing this same thing in Austin?
To my knowledge, I don't know. I know some good docs up in Austin. Infinity Wellness in Austin is Tanisha Winey, Dr. Ward. That's what her original name was. She's been married, is married to a chef, an amazing chef, and they got a really sweet clinic up there. A really close friend of mine, and but I don't know, man. Like we've got something pretty unique down here. I'm sure they're doing something. I hope. I don't know. I just don't know. But I mean, obviously, there's nothing news under the sun. Somebody's doing it. I just not exactly sure. I really do have a focus of just knowing what I'm after and what my expectations for my people are, and I know what I want to see people go through. And that's, again, why we have the online support. So even if you're in another city, you can still be a part of our group. We can mail you the products. I have patients all over this country that are, seeing Jennifer. They're working with Molly. They're working with Dr. Amber. They're working with myself. And, we do phone visits. I mean, we have leveraged technology. We do. I was on the phone, like I said, with a couple in the Woodlands yesterday. They just couldn't make it down. But I mean, we could see them face to face, and we chat, and it's good to see them. I got to see their kids, which I didn't get to meet last time they came in. And we're working on the detox together. You know what I mean? We're going through their health journey together. And I had another couple up in Midtown. They it's just tough to get down to our area sometimes. They do. They come. That's like every other month. They come in live, and then the next time we do it Doxy, and where we can kind of see their face. They can see my face. And it's not, as cool, to have people live. I like touching people, seeing people, being physically in their orbit. But at the end of the day, man, I mean, technology has allowed us to be more present more than ever before. So please, I mean, I would encourage you, don't let distance separate you. That's why every month for the last 2+ years, we've been doing a monthly in-house class with a Zoom attachment, so that you can be a part of our community, whether at whatever level you want to be, and that's the fun of where we're at right now in the health arena, in the technological world. You got to find your crew. You got to find your tribe. Who do you want to, link arms with? So I'd say jump on our, in our boat for right now, and look up Infinity Wellness. They're up there, and Dr. Ward will take good care of you. She's an amazing gal.
Okay, here's another question. This is from Michelle. Do you ever teach or help on a low-sulfur diet and a low-sulfur detox?
We can build anything that is pertinent to your case. Where we always start is at the beginning. We got to hear your story. We've got to unfold your journey. When we start unfolding a patient's journey, we go through that health process, because a lot of people at clinics just don't take the time to do the intake. They don't listen to the story. They don't let it unfold before the clinic, the clinician's eyes, and the patient's unveiling. And what we have prided ourselves on is being able to hear out that story, so that we can help. We can, one, better understand what you've been through, what you've done, what you haven't done. Turn those rocks over. Making sure we didn't leave any stone unturned, because sometimes if you're stuck, it's just a stone that hasn't been turned over yet. There's always something more you can do, because your body's breakdown might be over here in the electrical, or radiographic or EMF department, electromagnetic fields. Somebody else might be a true biological glitch in an organ system. Somebody else might be, something they're consuming. Somebody else might be sensitive to the weather or whatever. We got to find where your glitch is. And then so in your case, you've already got this sulfur situation going on. We've built diets that are low oxalate, sulfur, containing food, lectins. We look at, obviously, the big guys, the big rocks, we call them, the most common food allergens, because I find a lot of times people are doing obscure diets that seem to be working, but they're still allowing some very big inflammatory engines in, right? And when you let these inflammatory engines in, those inflammatory drivers will keep you having to be more restrictive than you need to be. But yes, I would say we can build anything to help care plans move forward.
All right, Dr. Chapa, we're almost out of time. I think it would be a great opportunity to remind everybody what's going on tonight, how they can tune in online, or maybe even where they need to go.
All right. Well, remember, text DETOX21 to 474747 for more information on the ultimate detox experience. Give our office at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center a call, 281-554-8600. At Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center tonight at 6:30, we're going to be at Butler's Courtyard in League City, Texas. We want to invite you to be out there with us. We're going to have all kinds of tests that you can participate in. You got some raffles to participate in. You've got the Zerona laser to participate in. You've got teas and smoothies and soaps and waters and all kinds of, we'll have like a little food area. We got all kinds of stuff going on out there. Great people will be there, smiley people that want to be, in the detox experience with us. And we have fun going through this together. We're going to be live on Zoom, and we're going to be present digitally for those that can't make it in. And we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're going to be blessed when you arrive and blessed when you leave, and your life will be changed forever, one bite at a time. So at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we believe all life starts and stops at the cellular level, and nutrition, guys, is the fundamental backbone that drives it forward. It drives it onward, upward, goodward, and Godward. We want to encourage you to indulge in that idea, that concept. Roll with us. Play with us. Help you move forward each and every day. God bless you all, and we'll check you next week.
This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's just after 10 o'clock. Coming up next is Building 429. All right, social media, y'all be blessed. Have a good day. Tonight, Butler's Courtyard, and I'll see you next Tuesday as well with Dr. Chapa, starting at the same time.